All right, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor. When we come back, I need you to be really loud. I know it's a small crowd here tonight as we get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a long day, but I need you to be really loud. It's part of the band's new video. You're going to watch it up on the big screens on either side here, and they're going to be playing to it. You're going to love the video. You're going to watch the close. It's very important you watch the close. It's one of Steve Foster's favorite songs. So we're going to be coming back on KXNO, on WHO, and of course on the mat.com as well. So join me in making a lot of noise when I tell you, okay? All right. We're going to come back, and it looks like...
Check. These guys can get loud, Scott. I know they can.
I think they can.
Yeah, but look at we got some Midwest girls right there. We got all these guys right there. I know they can get loud for me.
30 seconds. Midwest girls, I love you guys. You guys are opening tomorrow night in Minneapolis for who?
For Lee Bryce tomorrow night.
Lee Bryce sold out show.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Dang, I couldn't even get tickets. All right, here we go. We got 10 seconds. You guys ready to make some noise with me?
Better hear some singing out
People
there. Come on now.
Right.
Let's go.
Some Hawkeye fans over there. Everybody, come on, make a little noise. Come on now. All right, welcome back, everybody. We are live in Des Moines, Iowa. The band behind me is The Last Ride. Here we go. It's Take You Down.
I grew up on the working side of town, a factory worker's son with crazy dreams. Some have said I'll never make it out, but they don't know the fire inside of me. And I ain't gonna listen to a single thing they say, 'cause tonight's my night and I'm gonna have to make you pay. Yeah, wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? Wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? 'Cause ain't nobody gonna do this for me now. Come on! When you grow up living life this way, you learn to fight for everything you make. Something big is slightly out of reach. You learn to fight till you're standing on your feet. Looking back on it now, well, I wouldn't never change a thing. 'Cause at the end of the night, everybody's gonna stand to scream. Yeah, wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? Wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? 'Cause ain't nobody gonna do this for me now. Come on! Looking back on it now, well, I wouldn't never change a thing. 'Cause tonight's my night and I'm gonna have to make you pay. Yeah, wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? Wanna take you down tonight. You ready for a fight? Wanna take you down tonight. Yeah, yeah. Wanna take you down tonight. Yeah, yeah. Wanna take you down tonight.
That's what I'm talking about. Woo! That's how you do it right there. Tony Winkler on lead vocals, man. Nice job. I want you to introduce your band.
Thank you very much.
You beat the
Appreciate
hell out of the drums back there, by the way. I was watching this. I was hoping he's going to stay on the stage. Introduce your bandmates.
Sure.
There's a very talented group of people.
Yeah, I just want to thank Scott so much and really the wrestling community and these kids out there. I see them with T-shirts and for what Scott and Mark Ironside and Dan and Tom have done for us. We greatly appreciate it. So to my right is Aaron Cheslin on lead guitar from Muscatine, Iowa. We got Nick Tucker on drums from Chicago, Illinois. We got the one and only Rachel Nelson from Florida. We got Chris Nelson on lead guitar as well from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And then we got Tyler King, our songwriting buddy here from Chaska, Minnesota.
Outstanding. And the website they can go to, Facebook and all that real quick?
So the website is www.thelastrideband.com, and then The Last Ride is our Facebook page.
Tremendous. How about a round of applause?
Thanks again.
We'll send it to break. We'll be back more on WHO Radio, KXNO, and of course, cement.com. How about a round of applause? The Last Ride. Michael Chandler is coming up next. One more time, The Last Ride. We're back in 4 minutes. Michael Chandler, Bellator champions coming up. We've got some open conversation time about our NCAA championships. Are you guys as psyched as I am? It seems like it takes a whole year for this to roll around. Every single time. I know. And it's a party, man. It's a chance for... Friend Nate Carr right here to my right, and the man I love to argue points with, but he's one of my great friends, Wade Chalice, and he's thanking the band. Wade, it's hard to keep him, man. He's like a squirrel after a shining object. I'm serious. It's like Carr. Come on. All right.
Wasn't that group outstanding?
They're
awesome.
Their best band.
After that song, I'm in the 60s now, but I'm ready to wrestle. Now, Nate, stay there. But it takes you back all the years you're in the wrestling room and all the things you go through, the pain, the fun, the workout, the hard work, the discipline. You know, it takes you, all the memories you have, the great teams you were wrestled on, and people you were around, and people like Coach Gable, and how he motivates kids and changes their lives so much. It's just a wonderful sport. And that song just brought back all the memories. And I hope for those who wrestled and those who coached and those who just are fans of the sport, the song was outstanding. It embodied everything we stand for and what we do in life. It was wonderful.
All right, so here's my question. Wade, if this is indeed the song that everybody's walking out to, and all the kids around the country, the high schools are calling, they're emailing, and they're walking out to this song. They're coming out. Championships are playing this song, and they're finding out about it online, by the way. They don't even know a lot of times. How cool would that be if it was your song?
It should be one. There's 3 or 4 or 5 songs in sports, God Bless America, the different ones that you come out to in football, basketball, in the different sports. That would be an ideal song to be a national song for the wrestlers.
You guys
to come
agree?
out to.
All right, you notice there's a couple people in that song, by the way, who are very important to the sport of wrestling. They made their way through the state of Iowa, then on the national scene. One of them is Mark Ironside, and I wonder if Mark is here tonight. Is Mark Ironside here?
He's been here all night. He was over there.
Where is he? Is he
He was
hiding?
sitting over there. I think he may be back at his booth.
All right, so how about a round of applause for Mark Ironside? He is absolutely an inspiration to me, to the sport of wrestling. He's inspired so many kids, and we love it. We're 30 seconds away from coming back live. We want to thank all of our sponsors, including the NCAA. We want to thank our friends at themat.com, USA Wrestling, and, of course, my 2 co-hosts for joining us, and each and every one of you. Coming up next, you may not know about the world of MMA, and those of you that do will appreciate our very next guest. So do me a favor. When we announce him, make him feel real welcome. Here we go. All right, welcome back. Des Moines, Iowa. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us live tonight at the Hy-Vee Hall next to and adjacent to Wells Fargo Arena. Tomorrow, the NCAA championships kick off at 11 o'clock. It's going to be a big day in a big way for schools. Will Penn State repeat? They're looking for number 3. What about the University of Iowa? What about Minnesota? How about the surging, the University of Missouri Tigers? Are you kidding me? Right now, they're ranked number 4 in the country, and they got something to prove. I've got a guest for you. It's the band The Last Ride's playing in the background. He wrestled at the University of Missouri. He's a 2-time NCAA All-American. He's a 15-month Bellator light champion of the world. How about a round of applause for this man right here? This is Michael Chandler. All right, so you hear the song, Take You Down. You got Mark Ironside up on the big screen, featured heavily swinging the big hammer against the rubber. That's old school working out, man. That's old school wrestling preparation. And then you got Gable and Branson. I mean, that inspires you, that song. How did it inspire me? Did it inspire you?
Big time. I was over there sitting next to Wade, and I was telling him how jacked up I was getting. I was saying my time up here just got a lot more intense.
Yeah.
My talk just got a lot more pumped up. So it was definitely cool, definitely a great song, and a very, very cool video. Brings me back to the old school Missouri wrestling days.
That's great. Congratulations on all your success in Bellator and so on. We were talking just a moment ago about the wrestling and MMA fighting and the difference in the workouts and the intensity. And you said just something that was really interesting. You missed the intensity in the wrestling room that you don't necessarily get in the MMA. How's that change a little bit in your wrestling and the fighting?
I do, yeah. Fighters, we get punched and kicked in the face, and we look like a pretty mean group of guys, but I say it all the time, man. It all goes back to wrestling for me. I know that I wouldn't be the man that I am today, the competitor, the champion I am today, without the sport of wrestling, without the NCAA tournament. So, in these gyms, I've been to a lot of different gyms around the country, around the world, and, there's a level of intensity where people think they're working hard, but unless you've been in the wrestling room, unless you've been here to the NCAA tournament, there's a different kind of working hard that a lot of us understand, and that I understand, that a lot of people don't understand. So every now and then I got to keep my mouth shut and say, hey, or think in my head, man, you ain't done nothing yet compared to what I've been through. So it's just such an honor and a blessing to be a wrestler and have that wrestling background. And, like I said, I'm working my tail off and trying to outwork everybody in the lightweight division in the whole world.
Well, you're a great champion and a great individual, and you bring that to the sport, the hard work, the discipline, the qualities that the sport exude. And where's your next fight? You got another one coming up here? What's your defense?
In Bellator, we do tournaments. So there's a tournament final this Thursday, and then there's another one in 2 weeks. So I'm going to have 2 guys waiting to fight me here in the next couple of weeks. So I'm just waiting on the phone call. You know, as a wrestler, I'm always antsy. I'm always in the gym. I'm always working out. So I'm ready. I'm prepared, and
Mike,
just can't wait to do it.
Let me ask you this question. What about the mental preparation? We know you train the physical, but really a lot of winning is from here up, and then really believing that you're going to win and seeing that you're going to win. Do you put a lot of practice into getting ready mentally and casting down those negative thoughts?
Absolutely, man. It's funny you ask that, because I loved the sport of wrestling. I believe in my heart I worked harder than anybody else in that weight class in 2009. I wanted to win that national title. And I told my coaches I wanted to be a national champ. I told my training partners, my fans, my friends, my loved ones that I wanted to be a national champ. But I never 100% truly believed it. And it's a hard thing for me to sit back now, looking back on it. And I was just talking to one of my coaches, Coach Sean Charles, who coached me my senior year. And I say, Coach, this is hard for me to say to you, but I know I told you that, but I never 100% truly believed it. And now, having graduated and having moved on, I can truly say that, I have no limits put on myself. I really truly do believe that I was put in this sport for a reason, and I am going to be the best lightweight in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts. So to finally be able to reach that point after years and years of negative thoughts or sabotaging myself, and it's a great feeling to kind of have that weight lifted off your chest, and it's just keep plugging away, keep working hard, and good things are going to happen.
And you're right, Mike. That's how powerful believing is. That when you believe it, everything within you moves in that direction. And if you believe the opposite, it moves in that direction. So you are so right. Put up the picture, put up the visionary, see yourself winning, see yourself knocking them out, and go for it, buddy.
One thing I always say is, every single morning I wake up and I tell myself, I look in the mirror and I say, somebody has to be the best. Why shouldn't it be me? You got to ask
why
yourself,
not?
Why shouldn't it be me? If you work hard, if you do the right things, if you try to be the best person you possibly can be, why shouldn't it be me? And that's something I tell myself every single day.
When did it change, the preparation for the NCAA championship and winning that, and now what you've done in being a world champion in Bellator? I know no one, and I try to teach the kids when I coach, as I'm sure you do the same thing, Nate, is nobody ever stands up on that platform in the number one position and looks down at their medal and go, hey, look, I am great. I won. No one is surprised when they stand up on that platform. They are up there in that platform hundreds of times in their mind before they get up there physically. And you have to prepare yourself for that. And how do you change that? You maybe you cut your legs out from underneath you once or twice in some of your thoughts. Yeah. How do you change that? How did you change that?
For me, I can't say a specific event. For me, as far as wrestling goes, it happened too late. I graduated and I look back. I think what it was actually coaching for a year at the University of Missouri and looking at these guys. I looked at the 10 wrestlers. I saw their mindset. I saw the way they trained and the certain things that they would do physically, and then the things that they would say just didn't add up. And I kind of just started to really kind of study what was going on for that whole year, and that was when I started my fight career, and that's when it kind of clicked for me that, man, I could look back at matches and I could look back at times when I literally was afraid to win. I was afraid to go out there and step on the line and wrestle or not wrestle. I would wrestle hard, but if the opportunity presented itself, I would somehow find a way out of those big matches. And it's sad to go back and look at it, but it's maybe the man that I am today and the competitor, and we all have that story, and that's something that's going to make me become the best lightweight in the world, I believe. So. Is it kosher for me to ask you a question instead of our guest? How did you do that, Nate? I mean, you won several NCAA titles. What was the difference in your mindset versus some of the competitors? What changed from the high school scene in Pennsylvania to Iowa State?
You talking to me or you talking to Nate?
Well, I think, having my brothers, having such a big family, again, I was setting goals early, dreaming early. And for some reason, I think just being around my brothers, I was able to say before I went to Iowa State that, one, I want to get my degree. Two, I want to be a national champion. And one of my maxims that I use is you have to have a yes to where you're going and a no to anything that's going in the opposite direction. And readers are leaders. For some reason, I would read about champions and I would learn things from them way before I got in that situation, which helped me to make the adjustment. And then, I always say, you don't invite bad thoughts, Mike. They just come. And so when they come, you have to have a way to deal with them. Case in point, Kenny Monday pinned me in the Big 12. We're at Iowa State. I'm going to the platform, sold out crowd. And as I'm going to the platform, this thought comes out of nowhere. Kenny Monday pinned you. I was like, who wants to leave that in? So I had trained myself to go to this room in my mind, and in that room was a fireplace with the fire going, and there was a table in there with a piece of paper on it, with a pen on it, and a chair. I would go sit, roll out a sheet of paper, Mike, write down, Kenny Monday pinned you last time. Crumble it up, throw it into the fire, watch it turn to ash, roll out a new sheet, say, Nate, go hard, you win.
That's
I love it.
inspiring.
I love it.
That's, you know what? I've interviewed you how many times? You've never told me that story.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
It's my first one.
I just got
it on
chills.
the first one.
That's good. Mike Chandler, you made a decision to fight professionally, and thank you for sharing that. You made a decision to fight professionally. You moved away from your home in Missouri. You went to Las Vegas, Nevada. You put yourself at the throne of Randy Couture because he is one of the greatest in the world. He sat in that chair last year on stage with us in St. Louis. But you trained and trained and trained. I was out there many times with you morning, noon, and night, and you were busting it, dude. Nobody was training any harder. Randy Couture on record to this day still says you're one of the hardest training athletes he's ever known, and it's only getting better. Bellator has recognized this. You become the poster boy for Bellator. Now Bjorn Rebney, the man who put Bellator out there on the map and has organized this incredible fight company, is now organizing, well, I'm not even going to say what I have to. He's trying to do a benefit. He wants to do some benefits to benefit the sport of wrestling, to make sure that wrestling continues on at the Olympic level, and it's Bellator that's leading the way. It's not the UFC, it's Bellator and Bjorn Rebney. How cool is it to have your boss to get out there, not only on a local, on a national level, but on a worldwide level and make a statement like this, and you're the poster boy for this.
It's an honor, because at the end of the day, like I said, no matter what, I wouldn't be sitting here without this sport. And, 2009, I felt my heart being pulled in the direction of mixed martial arts and away from wrestling, and that's the decision I felt like my life was going in, and to be put on a platform to do what I'm supposed to be doing. So I love this sport. This is, I'm preaching to the choir, but this is the greatest sport in the world. I get butterflies. I don't even know what's going to happen this week when my Mizzou boys do well, and I'm probably going to be in a corner crying somewhere because this sport is just so amazing. But to be a part of something like that, to see the sport of mixed martial arts, where there's kind of been that little bit of tension between the two sports, where is MMA bad for wrestling? Is wrestling good for MMA or whatnot? To be able to be a part of an organization that wants to put both of them on the same level and help each other out, it's just great. And to be the guy who can hopefully, be one of the guys who is, putting butts in seats and spreading the word of how amazing this sport is and what it has done for my life, what it has done for everybody's life in this arena. I want to do that. And since that decision was made about the Olympic Committee, I've been talking about wrestling a ton, and we all need to continue to do that in the future.
I noticed a lot of times, this weekend we're going to have, most of the individuals who win the tournament are going to have 5 to 6 matches, and they going back to back to back to back with matches. In Bellator, it's a tournament scenario. How tough is it to fight back to back to back? You see a lot of times in boxing they have one fight and then they take 9 months off to recuperate and get ready for the next one. You have to go back into the cage, almost immediately. How tough is that? Is it comparable to wrestling?
Nothing's comparable to wrestling, right away. But when you do think I fought 3 times in 3 months, I brought a pretty badly pulled hamstring from my first fight into my second fight. And in my second fight, I got a little cut and some messed up face, and then brought it into the next fight. So 3 fights in 3 months, and trying to train and trying to peak and that kind of stuff is definitely a grueling process. But I knew going into it, man, you can throw me in 10 fights in one night, and I'm still going to come out the champion because of what the sport of wrestling has done for me. So I knew going into it, I was a nobody. Nobody knew who I was. Didn't know me from Adam, but I said, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to win this tournament because I'm a wrestler, and that's what we do. We go harder than everybody else, and 3 fights in 3 months is definitely not as bad as what I've gone through.
For wrestlers, is there a particular discipline, be it Taekwondo, Muay Thai? Is there something that you have a problem, wrestlers typically struggle with? Is there one sport or one of the disciplines that are a little more difficult than another?
For me, no. I don't know if it's God-given ability or whatnot, but I seem to be able to pick up the striking well. I already have that wrestling background, so the wrestling is easier than most, and the grappling and that kind of just comes naturally because it's one man versus another man on the ground. So that's what wrestling is. So.
Mike, I like your jacket. Did you put that on there?
Thank you. I did, actually, yes.
That's some good
He is
wisdom.
blessed. All right, real quick, your last fight was against Rick Hahn, and there were a lot of folks that were out there comparing judo and wrestling. I was one of them. Obviously I have my favorites, but Rick is a world champion, dude. He's one of the toughest guys on planet Earth. But in round number 2 is where you put an end to it all. He had an apparent weakness, and that was on the mat.
Yeah, he was an Olympian, and I said going into that fight, not cocky, but just confident with my wrestling background. Wrestling beats judo 10 times out of 10, and I didn't throw my hands as much as I wanted to because I think subconsciously I wanted to prove to the world where wrestlers stand, and being able to get those takedowns and that kind of stuff, was great to be able to go out there and prove that wrestling, is a very, very dominant sport and a dominant background.
How tough is Rick Hahn? I mean, honestly,
He's tough.
I watched this fight, and I was worried for you. I really was. I wasn't worried you're going to lose.
Yeah.
But he's a tough cat.
He is. Yeah, I think he was 14-1 going into that fight, and with the Olympic background, and he was knocking guys out. He had dropped down, so he was a welterweight at 170. He has dropped down to 155, so he brought that power, and he had just knocked out 2 guys right before he was fighting me. So there was a lot of hype and a lot of momentum, and it was time to stop it.
There were people comparing him, by the way, to Jimmy Pedro, who went from wrestling at Brown to being a judo gold medalist, if you recall. And he's had a lot of success training judo medalists, including young ladies now who are winning titles around the world. So it's pretty cool that you were able to dominate in judo, and you took that wrestling to another level. What's next for you? Let's talk a bit about Bellator. What's next for you in Bellator?
For me, it's just keeping the main thing, and that's being in the gym as much as possible. Obviously, I'm here enjoying the wrestling weekend, but just getting better, man. I have a great opportunity to do something great with my life and something I've been called to do, and I refuse to sacrifice this gift. So just training hard every single day, getting better, making the right decisions, surrounding myself with the right people, and trying to be the best man I possibly can be, and keep on winning fights. That's all I know of.
How can you take this and what you're learning and what you've done so far and get this out to the children, to the young wrestlers that are out there, other people would like to follow you? What message you'd like to send from the sport of wrestling, from MMA, and with your experiences in life? What's the difference?
For me, it's when I get people that come up to me and say, "Man, I want to fight," or "My son wants to fight, my daughter wants to fight," I say, "Well, you better get him in the wrestling room." It all goes back to wrestling. No matter what, the wrestlers of this world are going to be, they're setting themselves up to be successful, and so that's the best background to have if you're going to be in mixed martial arts. And for the wrestlers out there, for any athletes out there, for anybody out there in any profession, in any walk of life, man, just give yourself permission to be the best. Don't be, like you said, don't listen to those negative thoughts. Don't put limits on yourself. God doesn't put limits on me, so why the heck should I? And at the end of the day, somebody has to be the best. Why shouldn't it be you? So that's kind of the words I've been living by, and trying to become the best in the world. And you train hard, and you try to do the right thing, and good things are going to happen.
And Mike, I think it's all right to be confident. There's a maxim that says when insecurity meets confidence, it causes arrogance. But that's only because they don't know where they're going. So it's all right.
Absolutely.
To be
I like
confident.
that. I'm going to tweet that.
All right.
I'm going to tweet that.
All right, and our producer is telling us how much time we have left. What is it, 10 minutes, Jack? 10 minutes? All right. So I know we've got to talk about the NCAA championships. I want to thank Michael Chandler for being here. He's come up here. He's wanting to be a part of this so bad. He said yes before I even asked him. He is an absolute gentleman. It's one of the reasons why mixed martial arts is as popular today as it is. How about a round of applause for Bellator champion Michael Chandler? Nobody's living his life any better than Michael is. Michael, thank you so much, brother.
Well, before he gets down there, you're a Missouri fan. They have 10 qualifiers here.
10 qualifiers.
Who's going to win it all before we start talking about it?
Who's going to win it all team-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the University of Missouri.
All right.
University of Missouri. There you have it, folks.
Hey,
You've heard it here.
we put on a good
We don't even have to
performance.
wrestle it now, right?
That's right. No, let's go. Just everybody go home.
All right.
How
This
tough is
happened,
Walters?
this happened
Waters.
last year.
The man, and he's a Missouri boy from Kansas City. He is a fierce competitor. Hates to lose. Hates to not. If he doesn't tech you or pin you, he's coming off mad. So that's good.
And he beat McDonough 4-0. Tell us a little bit about
And
that
he was
match.
mad. Listen, he beat McDonough, the #1 kid in the nation, and when he gets off the mat, he's mad, throwing his headgear because McDonough was doing this or McDonough wasn't doing that. He was in on his legs a couple different times in the third period. Whenever you got a guy who's that competitive and didn't he just took down the #1 kid in the country and was mad about it. No matter how he beat him, if he doesn't pin you, doesn't tech you, he gets off throwing his headgear.
Does Sammy Henson have an influence on that?
He does, man. Sammy has been such a blessing and such an asset to the Missouri wrestling team, and what Coach Smith has built since whenever it was, man. It's been 13 years now or so, and they were losing to the NAIAs and the Division IIIs and couldn't recruit anybody.
And MAC championship in their first year in the MAC. They just they just won in the MAC.
Absolutely. So it's going up. It's going up and up, and man, I'm just excited. Like I said, I'll probably be in the corner crying, nervous about this whole weekend, so we'll see.
Well, in the semifinals, it'll be Megaludis and Waters.
All right.
I'm a Pennsylvanian. You're from Missouri.
All right.
Okay. Got a quarter on it.
Quarter?
Megaludis.
Hey, that sounds good,
Wait,
because I'm not part of the
there's no
NCAA where I
betting
can
on
make a
this
bet.
show.
That's
Quarter on it. I got Waters 6-0.
You really believe? Of course, you've watched Megaludis. His name
man.
means Victor, but
Yep.
do you really see Waters beating him?
I've already seen it in my head, right? no, but man, I just have such a passion for these guys, and I just love these guys so much. Of course, I'm gonna say that, but man, when you look at any of these top teams, man, and these coaches, and it's just amazing how good these teams are, and how close this race is going to be this year, and it's just excited to be part of it.
Well, let's break it down. 1 through 4. We've got about 7 minutes left. Help us break it down. Stay with us for the next few
please.
minutes as we head to the top of the
I
hour.
don't know much, but
All right, here's the question. If there is a hole, or if there are holes in Penn State's offense and what they have to offer on their way to a third championship, what do you see as weaknesses for Penn State?
I'm not very good at the weaknesses, but I mean, man, the thing about Penn State is they're so mentally tough. They're so well led by Coach Sanderson. They love each other and they love competing. So it's the NCAA tournament is so small. One small mistake here, one small mistake there, and you put yourself out of a match, or you put somebody back in a match. So when you look at a team like that, man, if they're on the top of their game, they're going to be a hard team to beat.
Wait, Chalice, we've got an equal opportunity here for the University of Minnesota to do what they did in Minneapolis at the national duels, and what a job they did, by the way. In the absence of Jay Robinson, in preparation for that, Jay comes out, he's got a coffee can in place for his knee, and thank God he's coming back strong. God bless Jay Robinson. But the University of Minnesota has really manned up in his absence, and they are challenging Penn State. The University of Iowa may not be as strong as they have been, but make no mistake about it, they will be here tomorrow, and they will compete for a national title. Oklahoma State is coming up from Stillwater. They're ready to go as well. And then there's Missouri. I mean, this is a top 5 in a murderer's row if I've ever seen one. Wade Chalice, your opinion?
Well, I don't know if I have one or not. I think Penn State's the team to beat. They have a couple holes, a couple weaker weight classes is going to determine. I think it's going to be the first. Kale said it's going to be the quarters and semis, and that's certainly where all the big points are scored. No question about it. That's where the separation starts to take place. But in preparation for that separation to take place in the quarters and semis on Friday, you have to have team momentum. And Penn State's going to get that momentum with their bonus points on tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon or morning and afternoon. And I think that's going to be determining the outcome, because if they start falling behind, if one team falls behind, they start thinking, I have to make up for that difference in the points. And some of the kids start taking chances with some of their shots to catch up, to get a bonus point when maybe it's not necessary. And it forces a different mindset. Penn State's coming in relaxed. Iowa will certainly be here. Every year I root against Iowa, and every year they impress me. They fight. They keep coming after you. And by the semifinals, I'm going, that darn Iowa, those Hawks are amazing. every year you can count on them. And
They
we're
are.
going to be able to count on them tomorrow and Friday. They're going to be right back in the mix. Oklahoma State, John Smith, he's going to have they have some good individual performances there. They have some kids that are coming up that are young. They're going to fill in some spots. There's some key matchups in especially the second round between Iowa and Minnesota, Penn State and Minnesota. There's some key matches
And
that are
Oklahoma State.
in lesser wrestlers,
Yeah.
but they're key matches.
Wait, I think Penn State is definitely the team. I think I'm looking for who's going to be the Magaludas. Who, because of the momentum, the aura, and the dreaming of them winning this third, who's going to step up like Matt Brown did in the Big Ten? And that aura just carries a life of its own. I remember sitting in the stands, and I happened to be sitting by the Cornell guy who had beaten Magaludas twice. And he was telling me, hey, I beat him twice. And then what happened? Magaludas beat him for the first time here and just did an extraordinary job. So it's going to be who's going to step up with Penn State, and I think they're going to be hard to beat.
You know, and I'm not even going to pick one. I'll tell you why. Because there are boys on these teams that have become men this year. This has become a defining moment for many teams. You've seen the rise of some teams. Cornell is not out of the hunt on this deal. They've got guys that are going to be challenging. And this is the deal for me. There's going to be some giant killers, and giant killers are going to spell the difference this year. They're going to be people who are going to be beaten. They're going to have to wrestle back. And they're going to look for bonus points. They're going to look for points of their own. But there's going to be people that are going to fall, and they're going to fall early. And that's going to be a difference for me. I'm not saying Penn State's not going to win it, but it will spell the difference. I think it's going to be a tight race when it comes to points. I think Iowa's still got something to say. And make no mistake, John Smith did not get on that bus with Eric Guerrero and those boys from Oklahoma to come up
That's
here
true.
and take second place or third place to anybody. All right, Minnesota is coming down from the Twin Cities with a point to prove as well. And believe me, Jay Robinson is back. He's healthy. He looks good. He may be on a couple sticks right now, but he's looking to see what his boys can do.
You know, it's also true, you know, they had the great athletes from these top five programs. But if you look at the coaching staffs, we're talking about the top 5 coaches in America.
In America, right
I mean,
now.
the Brands, the Smiths, the Sandersons, you know, the
Robinsons.
other Smith. There's 2 Smiths. But they're just the best coaches. They do a great job. They motivate their kids. They do a great job recruiting. They put more than 12 hours a day into their sport, and they're getting it back.
All right, real quick.
And it really comes down to, really, no matter what your season may have been, your future is spotless when you get here. So get ready to wrestle.
There was, at the Big 12 championships, it was, we go to 197 pounds. And in Stillwater, Oklahoma, we saw a young man emerge, and with some great deal of pain and anguish, this young NCAA athlete was able to rise above it all. And as his father lay in a bed in Waterloo, Iowa, he was able to put that all aside and win a Big 12 championship. His name's Kyvan Gadsden. His father lost his battle with cancer when Kyvan brought that medal back to Waterloo and gave it to his dad. And I want to congratulate you, sir, on the way you celebrated his life in Waterloo. I thank you. Through this sport, through NCAA wrestling, we're able to celebrate the life and accomplishments of others. And like Michael Chandler here tonight, we celebrate the future of this great sport. Thank you so much for what you've done. We celebrate the life of Willie Gadsden this weekend.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you, Scott.
I want to thank Michael Chandler at the end. I want to thank, of course, Wade Chalice and Nate Carr. Thanks to each and every one of you. Jack DeLeon has been our producer tonight. We've been airing on WHO Radio and KXNO on the Matt.com. We want to thank our band behind us, The Last Ride. For all of us at
Full
NCAA,
twinkle
we'll see
three,
you tomorrow
you got me
morning.
by the
9 o'clock.
hand.
Good night, everybody.
And you took me inside, and you bought me a drink, and you slapped my behind. She said, whoa, whoa, whoa.